What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome back to the Dapper Sniper Gaming channel, and welcome back to How Do I Want to Do This? This is our series where we take a look at all playable options available to players in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, then we rank them on a scale of 1 to 10 and either build them or fix them depending on how they rank. Now today we begin our talks on the Conjuration Wizard, the one that always has the right tool for the job because you can just make one, whatever it is that you need at any time. But is that going to be useful enough to put it at the top of our rankings? We're going to find that out today. But before we do, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe if you haven't already. We are so close to our goal of 5,000 by the end of this year. I think we really can do it. But of course, I need your help with a big final push for the end of the year, and I hope that we can get there. So go ahead and support down there if you haven't already. To help with that, of course, share the video with your friends, and of course, click the bell so you're notified when new videos are uploaded. This is a really cool and classic wizard that is out there, right? The wizard that can always just pop, I need a key for the door that I need to get into. Great, I've got one. I need to get out of this jail cell. Pop, I've got a key, right? There's all kinds of little objects and little doodads that you might need. You might need to bestow a gift on somebody, and that happens to be something you can make. Whatever it happens to be, there's a lot of flexibility with that, which can definitely help in social situations or even in combat, depending on what it is. But we're going to have to see how well it does today against all of the other options after a word from our sponsor. If you are looking for a great gift this upcoming Christmas season, then the Wandering Tavern by Homie and the Dude is the perfect one for the TTRPG lover. This system agnostic setting features 15 floors and 23 unique locations for you to explore on a massive airship. Interact with the various factions to learn all of the mysteries held within this vessel. Learn recipes for unique benefits and even compete in a bake-off. If you like the work of Studio Ghibli, then this is absolutely the one for you. Learn more with the link below and use code DAPPER10 to receive 10% off at checkout. And of course, by doing so, you will be supporting my channel. Thank you again to Homie and the Dude for supporting the channel, and let's get back to the video. So at level 2, we get a couple of features, and number 1 is Conjuration Savant. Now this should not come as a shock to anybody because all of the OG wizards actually come with a feature like this. So basically what this means, whenever we are going to copy down a conjuration spell into our book, it takes half the time and it takes half the money. So that's a really good thing, right? Obviously this is something that I don't really rank just because so many wizards get it, but it is an essential part of what makes the wizard a wizard, right? Really good stuff, especially if this is what we're focusing on, and generally we probably are. What we're getting that makes us a little more unique is minor conjuration, and this is kind of what I have been alluding to in the intro. So with this, whenever we want to, as an action, we can actually create an inanimate object in our hand or on the ground, wherever, somewhere nearby. It can be no larger than 3 feet wide and weigh no more than 10 pounds, and it has to be in the form of a non-magical object that we have seen. The object is visibly magical and does actually radiate light in a 5-foot radius. Then that object will actually disappear after an hour when we use the feature again, or if it takes or deals any damage. Now this is an interesting feature that honestly sounds really cool, and it is, right? Again, like I said, you're in a jail cell, you see the guard's key, then you can just make one, boom, you're out, right? This is cool, and this definitely is something that is going to reward your creative players. You need something to trade maybe, right? I'm playing through Witchlight right now, and there's all kinds of trinket type of things, and so you could make a trinket and trade that to somebody, right? There are definitely all kinds of use cases for something like this. However, there are a couple of things that I take issue with here, actually, and this might be a controversial take, right? Now, obviously, these have to be very small objects. We are limited in what we can make, right? 3 feet is not that large, so we cannot make anything big, right? I think back on things like the Creation Bard, right, which can eventually make like a boat, right? There's no scaling on this feature. It is what it is right now. So to me, that's a little bit stifling. I would have liked to have seen some scaling to this as we level to make bigger and bigger objects. That would have just made a little bit more sense. And the other thing that kind of sounds cool, but to me isn't, is the fact that this is visibly magical. This means that it's going to be a lot harder to fool somebody with this. So if you're trying to pass this off as just some whatever, and then it's glowing, right, then you're not going to be able to pass this off as something else. To me, that's actually a downside in a lot of situations. Maybe you can trick a low intelligence NPC to take this and say that it's something special, but to me, I actually think that it's a downside, and so I honestly don't think that it's as good as what it sounds. I think that there are definitely plenty of situations where this will come up, so it is going to get a good ranking, but I don't think that it's this perfect, amazing thing. I've got to give it an 8 out of 10. I honestly think that it's 2 points worth to take that down because there's no scaling and because it actually appears magical, which I think is going to hurt you a lot more than help you. At level 6, we get benign transportation, and this is a really cool teleportation feature. So with this, as an action, we can teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space that we can see. We also could choose to switch spaces with a willing creature that is small or medium size within that same radius. Once we do this, we can't do it again until we finish a long rest or cast a conjuration spell that is at least first level. This is pretty cool, right? I'm initially thinking, okay, maybe this isn't that great because it's an action, right? However, there's a little bit more to this because one, we've doubled the range of something like Misty Step, and we also have the ability to switch places. This could be really interesting, right? Because I think about this in a few ways, right? Number one, when you get to a little bit higher levels, we always talk about the barbarian cage match, right? Where you wall of force around somebody and then you stick your barbarian in there, right? To me, this is kind of setting up for that, whether that is the wizard is right next to something and then sets that up, or the wizard gets put into that situation by the DM and now you switch that around and now it is, I'm not stuck in here with you, you're stuck in here with me, right? That can help you turn the tables on that situation. It also, for the same reason, gets you out of a melee combat and puts somebody that does specialize in melee combat into that fight, which definitely could be a really, really useful thing depending on positioning. Overall, I don't think this is a bad feature. I do wish that it was a bonus action instead of an action, given that it is an exclusive feature like this, but ultimately it's still really, really good, and teleportation is never going to be a bad thing. I've got to give this a 9 out of 10. If it was a bonus action, it would be a 10, but I don't think I can quite go that high. At level 10, we get focused conjuration, and this just means that our concentration cannot be broken by damage dealt if we are actually concentrating on a conjuration spell. This is interesting, and it definitely will help us to maintain our summons. It's very late to be getting something like this at level 10, but I kind of understand it. But either way, it's kind of cool. Now, here's the other thing though about this being a conjuration type of thing. Up to this point at level 10, we have no way to buff our conjures. Pretty much every other subclass in the game, like Shepherd Druid and a few others that focus on this, have all gotten features like this, right? We've all gotten features that actually buff the summons that we make when it comes to conjuration. We've not gotten that yet, and here we are level 10, right? So yeah, we're going to be able to maintain concentration, but they're just any normal summon. So to me, I feel like while this is good, I still feel like we're getting features out of order here, and it actually is somewhat holding things back, and we'll talk about that in final rankings, because I think this is going to be one of the most unique ways I'm having to do a ranking just because of how all this works. But as far as this feature goes specifically, I do think that it's pretty good. I just think it's kind of late, and so for that reason, I'm going to go with an 8 out of 10 on this as well. I just wish that this was something that came a little bit earlier, or at least was something that was even a little bit better and came with a second part maybe. Finally, at 14th level, we get durable summons, and I just talked about this, but now we actually get to buff our summons. So whenever we do summon something with our conjuration spells, we get 30 temporary hit points on those summons. This is good. It's late. It's really, really late to be getting something like this at level 14. Most players are not going to get this far. Most players are never going to see this feature, which kind of sucks, right? Because the whole point of your Shepherd Druids and your ones that are focusing on conjuration spells, the ones that are focusing on having summons, they want to be able to buff the summons. This gets nothing like that until level 14, past the level that most people are going to be playing, unless you're playing something at home or you're playing the Vecna campaign or whatever it happens to be, where that goes a little bit higher level. Unless you're doing something like that, you're probably never going to see this feature, which really sucks. So if this was back at say level 6, this would be a really good feature. Here, it's super late, and it's too late, honestly. It's too late. So to me, I think I've got to dock some points back on that, and I've got to go with a 7 out of 10 simply because it is so late, and this should have come a long time ago. So what do we think of the Conjuration Wizard? Now, this is probably going to be my most controversial way of doing my rankings. However, it's my channel and I do what I want. So this subclass is not the worst, right? I don't think that this subclass is bad. I do think that it is not optimized, and I think that that's a pretty fair way to put this. I think that it is not optimized. I think things are out of order. I think things are lacking in order for you to shine in the way that you want to shine, right? To me, I could probably play any wizard I wanted to, take a bunch of conjuration spells, and still be better than this, right? I don't think that this has what it takes to stand out over a lot of the other options because of the way things are ordered. I just don't think it's very optimal here. Minor Conjuration has no scaling, which I think really sucks, especially compared to later things, like I said, with the Creation Bard that has scaling to it. That means that you can make larger and larger objects so that they can become more and more useful and less restricted. I really think that this could be really good, the Minor Conjuration, but it just needs more scaling. With Benign Transportation, that feature's probably fine, but I don't know that it is something that I would focus on having at level 6. I honestly think I could wait on that until level 10 maybe, and then get something different earlier. I think Durable Summons is coming way too late at 14. It needs to come back at 6 probably in order for us to really feel that progression and us to want to actually summon things with our conjuration spells. There is no reason for me to worry about taking any conjuration spells until level 10 as a conjuration wizard. That makes no sense, right? That makes absolutely no sense for me to not want to really focus on summoning, or at least not have any features that reward summoning until level 10. It's not good, and I don't think that that is helpful. So yes, the individual features I think are passable. However, as a kit, trying to achieve what it is trying to achieve, I think it falls really flat. And so I think that the combination of these things, while I don't think that they are necessarily bad, I do think that they are suboptimal. And in that case, I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. I'm going to force this to where I have to fix it because I just don't think that this is anywhere near optimal. So we're going to be fixing this later this week because I think it deserves it. I think it's so close. I think there are a lot of really good tools here. I think we could add a homebrew feature here or there in order to make it just a little bit better and make a little bit more sense and make it come up to the stature of something. I know I've mentioned the druid a lot. I've mentioned the shepherd druid a lot, but that's kind of the summoner, right? And so that's really what we're looking to when it comes to this. And to me, I would like to make this at least similar in how it functions, because that one does it right. This one just doesn't. So we're going to be fixing that later this week. I hope you all are looking forward to that. I know I am. I love doing these subclass fixes. I love diving into that homebrew territory. And so we are going to do that together coming up on Sunday. So I hope you guys are subscribed so you don't miss any of that. Saturday, we got week 2 of our UNPL Fall Brawl tournament. That is Little Cup. So all of the baby Pokemons going at it, and you are not going to want to miss this week's battle. It is a crazy one, actually. This one's insane. Actually, it's awesome. So make sure you check that out. And then of course, Sunday, we will be putting up our fix, and we'll of course have fix guides for all the members, all that fun stuff. So until next time, stay safe out there, stay healthy. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.